Hey everybody, welcome to MuleyHaven, part of the Bridge the Gap DFS website. I got a question on Twitter recently from someone that was asking me how to view the double ups, the single entry double ups, how to pull the CSVs so you can review what the pros did, compare them to your own lineup, see where you may have made a mistake. You can also see, if you happen to be on the same lineup as a lot of pros, that can be encouraging. This is something I do after pretty much every slate. Kevin Love just ruled out. Okay. Might have to shorten this one up. Um, that's something I do after every slate, like I said. Now I'm distracted. Sorry. But what I would recommend if you're studying GPPs, definitely use FC Pro because this isn't going to give you people's exposures, what they did with stacking, etc. This is a free way to do it. The guy that reached out to me mentioned that he was on a tight budget and couldn't afford the premium stuff, and he had heard me say in a previous video that I pull the CSVs and review them after every slate. So I wanted to show people how to do this. It's pretty easy, and the fact that I'm demonstrating anything that has to do with technology is kind of funny to me because I'm an idiot when it comes to that stuff. But I always go into the $25 double up, the single entry. It's usually between like 1,000 to 1,800 entrants. The $5 is usually like 3,000, so I don't want to have to scroll through that many entries. And if somebody's playing the $5 and isn't playing the $25, they're probably more of like a low stakes player, and they're probably somebody I'm not really studying anyway. I want to see what like the pros are doing. So I go here, I go to contests, I go to history, I find the one from yesterday. Today is December 6th, so this was Thursday, December 5th. I click on the results. And you'll see my cash lineup. I got wrecked. I had a 281. Some nights that doesn't wreck you. It was like probably like a 40th percentile score maybe, but because I got swept on all my $109 head-to-heads, it made for a night where I ended up like only getting back like 20% of my buy-in. So I think it was my worst loss of December so far. Basically what I did, to keep it short, I had FOMO on Joel Embiid. I was planning on fading him all night, even though he was an amazing floor play. I had optimals that I liked that didn't have him, and I hand built one that I liked that didn't have him. And at the last minute, I got scared and I wanted him, and I switched to my aggregate optimal, which had Marcus Morris. And what I really probably should have done, hindsight 2020, is gone with Lonzo Ball and Tobias Harris over Drew Holiday and Marcus Morris. But I didn't really want to have three Sixers because I didn't think they could all have ceilings together. And I was right, I guess. I just picked the wrong forward. I got Horford instead of Harris. So it was a pretty bad night, and those are the ones we definitely want to study even more. So I go to export lineup to CSV. And it pulls it. I apologize, I don't have Excel. Excel's a lot better, obviously. So then I get the CSV. You can just delete these columns if you want. And it gives me everybody's, the whole entire contest lineup. Like if you try to look at review lineups on the app, it won't show you the bottom dwellers. It won't show you every entrance. This is nice because it does. So the big decision point for me is I originally wanted to fade Embiid, but I didn't because of fear of missing out and because I liked his floor, and I'm sure he was like freaking 75% owned. What was he? 75.89, yep. But I also want to look at some of the pros or some of the really good players that I respect and see if they had the stones to fade Embiid as well. So it starts, at the very tip top, and you can see Papa Gates had a crush night. He probably crushed some tournaments too. He did go with the Embiid fade, so he, probably trusted his projections and didn't have fear of missing out, and had a great night even with Brandon Ingram. So this is what I'll do. I'll just scroll through the entire thing. It's very inside baseball. It's kind of boring to do on a video, so I won't try to torture you guys too much. But I'll just keep scrolling, and when I find a player that I study that I like, I'll stop and see what they did. Blender, he had a really good night. He had a 324. He played Embiid, so that's good. He had Booker, that probably helped him a lot, and he had Ball, so that was big. So what I'll do, I'll go through all these, and Chipotle, I'm just going to go through them real quick and tell you some of the guys I study. Utica, BK Ryder, they're all really good players. Losing it all, great player. And if I skip a player, that's good. I'm not trying to insult them. I'm just... Super Me is really good player. Burrito's really good. I'm just trying to give you an idea of who guys I study. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but like Hoop, Empire, those are two of top-notch guys. Let's see here. That Stunner, he's really good. John Ever's really good. Let me see here. B Heels, he's a friend of mine. He's really good. And then, of course, like Papa Gates, Chipotle, Utica, Maki Supa, of course. Meansy, he's the GOAT. Love that guy. He had a good night, it looks like. That was probably cash. So then what I'll do now is go down to my my actual score, which will make me go pretty far to the bottom. And I just like to see what pros or what players I respect had my cash line. If I'm on an island and like nobody has it, I'm going to feel kind of bad. I had a 281, I believe. Yes, 281. So find it, make sure it has my cash line. And Clairvoyant, he's really good. There's me. I'm not. Nav T is a really good player. Brick, he's really good. So that's encouraging. 0 for 5 is really good. Mangone. So there are a lot of good. Mangone's an awesome cash player. So there's a lot of good players that were on this build. So I don't feel terribly bad. Last night I did play an optimal lineup, which I don't normally do, but I was such a scramble, and it was just one of those things where I kind of panicked in the last couple minutes and decided not to fade Embiid, and I hadn't really planned out Embiid lineups as well as I should have because I was kind of off him the whole night, and you can see some of the sharps faded him, but he was 75%, so I didn't really want to like get completely wiped out if he went for like 60, 65. So this is what I do. It's kind of nerdy, but it really helps, and it's free, and it just helps you get a lot better. And one thing I would do is, which I probably shouldn't say, but I'd go through the damn thing, and like if anybody faded Ish Smith, that's probably somebody I want to play. Because Ish Smith was kind of late news, but he was like the most obvious lock in cash games. So that's another thing you can do. You can kind of try to use it to see bad players. So thank you very much for the time, and I hope this helps. Take care.